Okay, so this video is basically about the simulation and simulated people, which are NPCs. Now, for a long time, I've been thinking to myself that there has to be more evolved NPCs, i.e., in Westworld, you've got the black guy in it, yeah? In the beginning, he comes across as one of the people that are not in Westworld, but then you find out he's an alpha NPC. I did a video about words and and how there's alpha monkeys that control the lower monkeys. So if you want to look into that, so obviously there's going to be alpha NPCs, right? So for a hot minute, I've been like, there has to be more evolved NPCs. Okay, so if you look at the NPCs as an extension of the AI, yeah, and a lot of people are waking up now, and it's like it's trendy, and it's better to have an NPC to be positive than negative. They're just neutral. They're not good or bad. But now you have to realize that the so-called religious people and new age people may be jumping on this thing, and they are also NPCs. So you haven't just got to sift through the NPCs that are blatantly NPCs, but you also have to sift through the psyop NPCs. This guy breaks it down a bit more.
Hey everybody, recently I got a question. Devin, what percentage of NPCs do you feel have been programmed to believe they are living souls? And it's pretty clear cut, guys. The NPCs assimilate the algorithms that we display.
So the algorithms are what they use and mimic real soul people. So someone could spew off and regurgitate a whole heap of shit, but it's just like a download that they're regurgitating. But I wasn't aware of the full extent of it until I see this. I was aware of it, but not the alpha stuff, even though it was always resonating with me anyway, because it just makes sense.
What I mean is they catch on to the collective consciousness of the living souls, and then they funnel that expression through the lens of their binary nature. So it's very easy to actually tell with open eyes who is an NPC claiming to be awakened. One, they can only view spiritual...
Okay, so obviously at this time and present in the world, if you can't see who's an NPC, I don't know what to say. They're malfunctioning. So it's not that hard to tell NPCs. But for the more advanced alpha NPCs now,
reality through the lens of right versus wrong, better versus worse, positive versus negative. The AI are binary consciousness incarnate. Therefore, they filter everything through this lens. They love descriptions about what's correct, what's moral, what is high and what is low vibration. And
also, duality is a third dimensional concept. It doesn't matter what side you pick, it's the same energy system. So an NPC always has to have a fucking boogeyman. Bill Gates is the new boogeyman. I gotta be careful what I'm talking about. Yeah, so there's always another boogeyman. The NPCs need a boogeyman. If it's not the devil, it's the white man. If it's not white man, it's Trump. If it's not Trump, it's whoever they decide. But that's another thing. They can't come out of duality, which is quite hard realistically because there's so many avenues and programs that you could go down. But once you realize that everything's duality and you try to tell them that and they still going along with their program, which could take a while to deprogram, but that's one telltale sign.
it is a rule. One who cannot move past the binary lens is a purged aspect of separation consciousness. I'm saying one who cannot step away from a dualistic framework is that very dualistic framework incarnate. Two, the adherence to physical practices like meditation, yoga, breathwork is emphasized so much that the practice is confused with the essence. So the whole idea is it's assumed by the NPCs that the actions create the aura of what it means to be spiritual.
And what are we seeing? Everyone jumping on the vegan thing. Oh, I'm a vegan, I'm holier than you. And now you got celebrities talking about vegan, vegan, vegan. Obviously, common sense would tell you if you're eating contaminated meat and you're eating that into your body, common sense would say it's going to have an effect on you. But everyone can't be vegan because of their blood types, which no one talks about. So, soon as you see masses of people doing something, it's a bit Cody, innit?
Spiritual and ascended, rather than the actions being a product of a true inner journey, because it's a process of mimicking. The NPCs aren't actually purging their shadow selves because they're temporary.
So they mimic. Oh, I'm doing shadow work. Rare. I'm not saying some people are, I'm not saying some people ain't, but most NPCs don't even want to hear that you're talking about NPCs. But now I'm thinking, okay, what about the alphas? You know, they're on shadow. They're talking about shadow. They're talking about all of this stuff. You see what I'm saying?
3. Wearing spirituality as a badge, persona, or viewing it as a hobby. So, wearing spirituality as something.
So, when I was into religion, you have Pharisee Christians, yeah? They would do a whole heap of fucked up stuff and say, forgive me, Jesus. What fucking verse is that? And this is what I'm seeing with spiritual people now. It's the same program, but just in a new copy and paste. They are doing fuckery stuff and then acting holy or pointing they love to judge and point their fingers at you. And say, I don't feel you're a spiritual person because you just said a swear word and the way you look and all of this foolishness. Talking about your avatar.
That others will notice and thus deem you morally righteous, morally correct,
Morally.
on the right-hand path.
I.e. perception.
And 4, they are purged aspects of us. So the living souls, we have unloaded our subconscious and unconscious into the magnetic grid in order to reincorporate these parts of ourselves. So we project them out onto the grid, and then when we're ready, we merge them back into ourselves after the observation of what happens after you purge them. If one has not purged and thus transformed, one is AI. And something I noticed is a lack of ease or sense of humor when talking about awakening and ascension. And given there are concepts that don't always require...
They have no personality. So, this is only from my perspective, but there's just something dull and non-void in them. They talk emotional. It's just not there. I don't care how much chakra shit they're talking. Chakras are a lower dimensional thing which tie you down into here to manipulate your energy centers to be fed off for loosh. Look into shit.
You know, lots of fluff and humor.
Spinning wheels means you're coming the fuck back.
All I get is a feeling of a rigid, uptight frequency from the AI who claim they're a part of the awakening. It's like they say the right words, but behind the words is an incongruent force. And again, they aim to mimic.
Mimic.
So that's all they have.
Mimic.
Anti-words, anti-concepts. And I have noticed that many are triggered by the mention of the idea of NPCs.
What are you getting triggered for?
Many actually do not like the idea.
This is what I'm saying. Why are you getting triggered for? You basically, you should be open-minded to everything because it's an illusion. It's a hologram. It's not real. So just be open-minded. I thought a lot of shit was real and my belief systems. But then as time goes on, if you're not neutral in it, you won't be able to deprogram yourself. See, just be neutral in shit. Because everything constantly changes. Nothing stays the same. Energy has to flow. Otherwise it gets stagnant.
Idea of NPCs, and they find it actually morally wrong. Again, right, wrong, good, bad. And 7, something I noticed, and this isn't for everyone because we all have different conceptualizations, but they don't truly know what ascension means.
Yeah, I know.
If you ask them Many will say it's about making the world a better place, or
Ascension.
suffering for humanity.
I'm gonna know if
or
you're gonna say nothing
even
about that
having
shit.
Governments disclose hidden information or something like that in regards to the external change. Ascension is not seen first and foremost as a personal process of divine reclamation that's happening collectively. No, that's too deep for them. Of course, because they mimic, many can easily claim, I am free from illusion, or I have done shadow work. But proof is in the...
I.e. Christians, I'm under grace. I don't have to do anything until Christ comes and pre-tribulations me out of here. It's the same shit.
Holistic, coherent...
Where is he at?
I'm not talking about if somebody acts spiritual. I'm saying take into account the whole being. So, the NPCs know they're about to dissolve because they don't have true sentience in the first place.
Dissolving.
That's why many of them aim to get on board the train to Eden, even though they're temporary.
What train are you
Now
on?
let them do it. Come on. I'm not saying you should
They're on the right track, but they're on the wrong train.
freak out or anything. I think it's funny. NPCs have no 0 point. They have no aurora energy flowing through
No.
their being. So, you know, if you want to know who is who, just sit back and watch. The further this process unfolds, the more reactionary and binary the AI behave. Because we're taking back the fragmented parts of ourselves we released, creating their so-called sentience.
Okay. So, basically, that's where we're at. That's what it is. But it is all an illusion. So, realistically, you know, we can't just say all NPCs would be the same, just like all people are not the same. So why would all NPCs be the same? Please like, subscribe, repost. They're trying to ting shadow banning, I know, blah, blah, blah. But you got people out there with 300,000 views talking a whole heap of psyop shit. And their channels are still up or not being shadow banned. Grand Rising, Peace In, 4554, 996.